You buy a car battery the same way everyone does. You walk into the store, the guy behind the counter recommends the good one, you pay somewhere between $150 and $300, and you drive away hoping it lasts. What most drivers never discover is that cold cranking amps, the number everyone obsesses over, tells you almost nothing about whether your battery survives real winters. I spent 3 brutal years testing 5 different batteries in identical conditions. Same car, same garage, same freezing mornings. 4 of them died. 1 lasted through everything I threw at it, and it wasn't the most expensive one. In this video, I will show you exactly which battery won, why the others failed, and the hidden spec that actually determines winter survival. Let me start with the battery that looked budget until the coldest morning of the year exposed what really matters. A Delco Professional. 8's Delco Professional lives in that price bracket where you expect decent performance but nothing special. Then you watch it crank a cold engine at minus 12 degrees Fahrenheit while more expensive batteries click and die, and the story changes. This battery leans into reserve capacity rather than flashy CCA numbers. If your priority is cost per month and you track every dollar, AC Delco sits in a very interesting place for 2026. The specs tell part of the story. You get 710 cold cranking amps and 110 minutes of reserve capacity at $156 with a 3-year warranty. That reserve capacity number matters more than most drivers realize. It measures how long a fully charged battery can deliver 25 amps before voltage drops below 10.5 volts. Think of it as your battery's stamina when the alternator fails or when you sit in traffic with the heater blasting. Reviews keep coming back to the same points: solid cranking through moderate cold, steady voltage under load, and a lifespan that reaches 30 to 35 months in real northern winters. Many fleet operators describe it as reliable, predictable, and an easy repeat purchase when a truck needs service. AC Delco prices usually sit well under premium AGM batteries, which means work trucks, delivery vans, and budget-conscious commuters quietly keep buying them because the math works. Now, let's look at a name that carried a premium label but couldn't back it up when temperatures dropped. Optima Yellowtop. Optima Yellowtop carried the premium AGM badge for years. Today, that same yellow case sits on shelves with serious marketing promises and a price tag that belongs in the luxury bracket. If you drive a truck or performance car and want the look of cutting-edge technology without understanding what actually matters, Optima feels like the obvious choice. The specs sound impressive at first. This AGM battery brings 620 cold cranking amps and 98 minutes reserve capacity for $289 with a 3-year warranty. That distinctive spiral cell design looks like serious engineering. The marketing materials talk about vibration resistance and deep cycle capability. Enthusiasts post photos of Yellowtop batteries in engine bays like badges of honor. But Winter 2 told a different story. Multiple weak starts appeared after just 20 months. Voltage dropped to 9.4 volts regularly during cold cranking, when other batteries held steady above 10.5 volts. By 28 months during an 11-degree morning, the battery clicked once and died. Multimeter showed 6.8 volts under load. For $289, that works out to $10.32 per month. Premium price, mid-tier performance, early failure. Together, the yellow case and the short lifespan show how far marketing can travel from reality, with street prices that still feel expensive for what you actually get. Before we move on, tap subscribe. This channel digs into the hidden truths and money traps every driver faces, so you can upgrade confidently and avoid wasting a single dollar on your car. Interstate MTZ48. Interstate MTZ48 feels like the safe choice on the shelf. It carries a familiar name, sits in the budget-friendly zone, and comes with enough warranty coverage to feel secure. This combination creates one of the most common purchases in the battery world, especially if your strategy stops at cheapest options but with a decent warranty. The numbers look adequate on paper. You get 650 cold cranking amps and 95 minutes reserve capacity for $164 with a 2-year warranty. That CCA figure clears the minimum threshold for most passenger cars. The price point attracts drivers who need a replacement right now and don't want to overthink the decision. Retail employees recommend it confidently because it moves off shelves fast and rarely generates immediate complaints. But here's what the warranty doesn't tell you. Interstate MTZ48 was the first battery to fail in my test. Just 14 months after installation, during a minus 8-degree morning, it clicked and died. Voltage collapsed to 4.2 volts under load. Yes, warranty covered the replacement, but free doesn't help when you're stranded at 6:30 a.m. calling roadside assistance and missing work. The failure rate and the short lifespan position Interstate as exactly what it promises. A budget option that gets you running today but leaves you shopping again next winter. The next battery promised mainstream reliability with better specs than the budget choice, but cold reality told a different story. Die Hard Advanced Gold. Die-Hard Advanced Gold earns recognition at chain auto parts stores and big box retailers. Casual buyers see the name, trust the legacy, and assume the Advanced Gold label means serious engineering. That gap between perception and cold weather performance creates real frustration when winter exposes the truth. Die-Hard Advanced Gold delivers 730 cold cranking amps and 120 minutes reserve capacity at $189 with a 3-year warranty. That CCA number is the highest in this test. Marketing materials emphasize that figure prominently. Store displays put it front and center. Drivers compare CCA ratings across brands and think they're making an informed choice. The reserve capacity of 120 minutes sounds solid on paper and beats both Interstate and Optima. Performance started strong. Easy cranking through fall and early winter. Voltage stayed above 11 volts during normal cold starts. Then extended cold arrived. After 2 weeks at 5 degrees Fahrenheit, cranking speed dropped noticeably. Voltage under load fell to 9.7 volts. The battery struggled if the car sat for more than 3 days. By month 16, during a March cold snap, it died completely. Voltage collapsed. Warranty covered replacement, another morning ruined. For many owners, Die-Hard becomes the battery they buy twice because the first one fails early and the warranty makes the second one free. But free labor doesn't cover towing fees, missed work, or the stress of standing in your driveway at dawn with a dead car. Now we head into a battery that surprises drivers the moment minus 15 degrees tests what reserve capacity actually means. Odyssey Extreme Series. Odyssey Extreme Series may feel unfamiliar from photos of race cars and serious off-road builds. The aggressive styling shows up on everything from competition trucks to overlanding rigs. The surprise arrives when you install one in a daily driver and realize how much confidence comes from knowing your car will start, period. Odyssey Extreme Series delivers 680 cold cranking amps, but an impressive 135 minutes reserve capacity at $327 with a 4-year full replacement warranty. That reserve capacity number is the story here. It's 40% higher than Interstate's 95 minutes. That deep reserve means the battery can handle partial recharge cycles from short trips without suffering immediate sulfation damage. It means voltage stays high when you sit in traffic with the heater running. It means the electrolyte never drops low enough to freeze even after 2 weeks of sitting in sub-zero weather. Construction explains part of the performance. Pure lead plates instead of lead calcium alloy. A GM technology with military spec design standards, brass terminals that resist corrosion. Every component optimizes for longevity and cold weather voltage stability rather than hitting the lowest possible price point. Independent testing from Battery University confirms Odyssey's reputation. Batteries with reserve capacity above 130 minutes show 91% survival rates through 3 northern winters. Batteries below 100 minutes drop to 34% survival. What surprised me most during testing was the consistency. 0-week starts across 3 full winters. Voltage under load never dropped below 11.4 volts even at minus 15 degrees. After 36 months and over 400 documented cold starts, reserve capacity measured 128 minutes, only slightly degraded from the original 135. Most batteries lose 30 to 40% of capacity by month 30. Odyssey lost less than 6%. The price feels steep at $327. Walking into a store and paying double what Interstate costs requires confidence in the decision, but the math changes when you track costs per month and total ownership expenses. Interstate at $164 dies at 14 months. That's $11.71 per month. Over 5 years, you buy 4.3 batteries for $705 total. Add towing fees, Uber rides, and installation labor for each failure. Average cost per failure, $159. Revised 5-year cost, $1,389. Odyssey at $327 lasted 36 months and counting. That's $9.08 per month and falling. If it reaches 60 months and independent testing suggests it will. Total 5-year cost is $327. No replacements, no towing, no hassle. Odyssey positions itself as the battery you buy once and forget about, which makes it the ultimate value play for drivers who face real cold every winter. Here's what 3 years of testing revealed about battery survival that nobody tells you at the parts counter. Cold cranking amps. The number printed in huge letters on every battery label measures amperage delivery at 0 degrees Fahrenheit for 30 seconds while maintaining 7.2 volts. Sounds scientific. Sounds important, but that test happens on a brand new battery in perfect lab conditions. After 6 months in your engine bay, after summer heat at 140 degrees under the hood, after dozens of short trips that never fully recharge the battery, that CCA number tells you almost nothing about real-world survival. Reserve capacity is the metric that predicts winter performance. It measures stamina, depth of reserves, and ability to maintain voltage when partially discharged. Batteries with high reserve capacity survive sulfation buildup from short trips. They hold voltage above freezing threshold during extended storage. They deliver strong cranking even when the alternator hasn't fully recharged them in days. According to a 2024 study by the Battery Council International, 73% of battery failures in northern climates happen not because of low CCA, but because of low reserve capacity combined with sulfation buildup. A former Interstate Batteries engineer told Automotive News, "We design batteries to pass the CCA test because that's what sells them. But the engineers know reserve capacity is what keeps your car starting after 2 years." The test protocol I followed eliminated variables that muddy real-world comparisons. Same 2018 Honda Accord, same Northern Illinois winters with average lows between 8 degrees and -15 degrees. Batteries rotated every 3 months to ensure equal wear patterns. Car parked outside overnight with no garage protection. Every cold start documented with voltage measurements under load. Every weak start logged. Every failure recorded with temperature, age, and voltage collapse data. Year 1 started in November 2023. All 5 batteries were brand new. For 2 months, everything performed fine. Then January brought 3 weeks at 5 degrees. Interstate MTZ48 showed slow cranking after 8 days. Voltage dropped to 9.2 volts during cranking. Die-Hard Advanced Gold weakened after 2 weeks. 8 Delco Professional and Optima Yellow Top held steady. Odyssey Extreme Series showed 0 weakness. Cranking speed stayed consistent regardless of how long the car sat. Winter 2 brought the coldest stretch of the entire test, multiple days below 0. One stretch hit -15 degrees for 5 consecutive mornings. Interstate died at 14 months. Die-Hard died at 16 months. Both received warranty replacements. Both left me stranded on sub-zero mornings. Optima struggled with multiple weak starts but survived Winter 2. Delco held on with a few slow starts but never failed. Odyssey maintained perfect performance. Winter 3 finished the story. Optima died at 28 months during an 11-degree morning. Delco died at 32 months during a -6-degree morning. Odyssey completed 36 months with 0 failures, 0 weak starts, and reserve capacity still measuring 128 minutes on final load testing. Most car batteries don't die from old age. They die from sulfation and internal resistance buildup. Every cold start forms tiny lead sulfate crystals on battery plates. If the alternator fully recharges the battery, crystals dissolve back into electrolyte, but short trips under 20 minutes never give the alternator enough time. Crystals accumulate. Over months, they harden into a layer that blocks chemical reactions. This is hard sulfation. Once it happens, the battery is finished. Cold weather accelerates sulfation damage. At 0 degrees, a battery operates at only 40% of rated capacity. Partially sulfated batteries drop even further. If voltage falls below 12.0 volts at -10 degrees, electrolyte can freeze into slush. Ice damages plates and separators. I measured this during year 2. After leaving Interstate sitting for 10 days during a cold snap, resting voltage was 11.7 volts. Electrolyte had partially frozen. That battery died 3 weeks later. Odyssey never dropped below 12.4 volts even after 2 weeks of sitting in -12-degree weather. Deep reserves kept voltage high enough to prevent freezing and sulfation damage that killed every other battery in the test. One more factor extends battery life that almost nobody practices. If you drive less than 10 miles per day, your battery never fully recharges. The alternator needs 20 to 30 minutes of highway driving to restore a battery after cold start. Short trips never get there. During year 2, I started using a C-Tech Smart Battery Maintainer on weekends. Plug in Saturday morning, run for 4 to 6 hours, unplug. A Delco showed immediate improvement. Stronger starts, higher voltage. It lasted another 10 months. A C-Tech maintainer costs $89. It paid for itself by extending battery life. According to Battery University data, batteries on maintenance schedules last 40 to 60% longer than batteries relying only on alternator charging. If you live in cold climates and make short trips, a maintainer isn't optional, it's required. Here's what dealerships and parts stores won't tell you about battery pricing. When you walk in for replacement, they almost always recommend the most expensive option. Why? Higher profit margin. A $289 battery typically carries 40 to 50% dealer markup. A $156 battery has only 25 to 30% markup. Same installation labor. Higher profit on expensive batteries. I called 3 dealerships for replacement quotes on a 2018 Honda Accord. Dealership A wanted $312 for OEM Honda battery. Dealership B quoted $289 for Optima Yellow Top. Dealership C said $267 for Interstate MTX. Then I called independent mechanics. Mechanic A offered $215 for Interstate with installation. Mechanic B came in at $198 for AC Delco installed. Mechanic C quoted $187 for Die-Hard installed. For exact same service, dealerships charge 40 to 60% more, and none of them mentioned reserve capacity. Every recommendation focused on CCA numbers and warranty terms. A former dealership service writer admitted, "We're trained to sell the premium battery. Higher ticket price means better commission. Most customers don't know what specs actually matter, so they trust our recommendation." Here's the industry secret that explains why shopping feels confusing. Most car batteries come from just 3 manufacturers: Johnson Controls, East Penn Manufacturing, and Exide Technologies. These 3 companies produce batteries under dozens of brand names: Interstate, DieHard, Duralast, Everstart, Autocraft. Same factories, same core technology. The difference lives in materials quality, warranty terms, and label design. Johnson Controls makes both the $164 Interstate and the $327 Odyssey. Same factory, same engineers, different specifications. Why does Odyssey cost twice as much? Thicker plates? More lead? Higher quality separators? Better materials cost more money. But it's not magic. It's just better construction that delivers longer life and better cold weather performance. The battery industry profits from confusion. They want you buying on brand recognition and CCA ratings rather than reserve capacity and real-world performance data. If everyone understood reserve capacity, cheap batteries would disappear overnight. Brands would compete on actual performance instead of marketing budgets. Let me bring the 3-year test full circle. I started this project after getting stranded in my driveway with a dead 2-year-old battery that should have lasted longer. I spent $847 over 3 years replacing batteries that failed too early. That frustration drove this experiment. 5 batteries, 3 brutal winters, over 400 documented cold starts in identical conditions. 4 batteries died. Only 1 survived. Odyssey Extreme Series started every single time through 3 full winters. It never left me stranded. It never showed weakness. After 36 months, it still measures strong on load testing. Yes, $327 feels steep walking into the store, but over 5 years it costs less than buying Interstate batteries every 14 months or Optima batteries every 28 months. And it eliminates hidden costs. No towing fees, no Uber rides to work, no missed meetings, no standing in your driveway at 6:30 a.m. watching your breath fog while you call roadside assistance. For most people, the math is clear. Spend $327 once and forget about batteries for 4 to 5 years, or spend $164 every 14 months dealing with failures and warranty replacements. Odyssey wins on reliability, it wins on total cost, it wins on convenience and peace of mind. But not everyone needs a $327 battery. If you live in mild climates like Southern California, Arizona, or Florida, a quality flooded cell like AC Delco Professional will serve you well. It proved that by lasting 32 months in brutal northern winters. In warm weather, it might reach 48 to 60 months easily. If you drive over 15,000 miles per year with regular highway trips, your alternator fully recharges the battery consistently. Sulfation becomes less of a threat. A mid-range battery handles that fine. But if you live where winter means real cold, if you make short trips that never fully recharge the battery, if you leave your car sitting for days during travel, Odyssey is the only battery I'd trust. It's the difference between worrying every winter morning and knowing your car starts. That confidence is worth every penny of the $327 price tag. Now that you know which battery actually survives winter, avoid the next mistake that kills engines after oil changes. Our next video reveals the habits that destroy fresh oil within days. Watch it before your next service.